Hello there, welcome back to Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode 198. And in this episode, we are at Crosley Field in Cincinnati, Ohio for game number 3 of the Strat-O-Matic Baseball Oldtimer Kings King of the Hill Tournament Gaedel Cup Finals, which has the 1961 Cincinnati Reds hosting the 1954 Cleveland Indians. So how did we get here? Well, first 2 games were in Cleveland. We had a split. Reds winning game 2, 4-1. Now they come home, hoping to keep things going in that direction. Cleveland would like to steal that home field advantage back with a win here. So let's get to the starting lineups and get this thing underway. First, for the visiting Cleveland Indians, leading off in left field, Al Smith. Batting second baseman, Bobby Avila. Batting third in center field, Larry Doby. Batting fourth, third baseman, Al Rosen. Batting fifth, third baseman, Al Rosen. And batting fifth is Vic Wertz at first base. Batting sixth, right fielder Dave Philly. Batting seventh, shortstop George Strickland. Batting eighth, catcher Jim Hegan. And on the mound, batting ninth, is Bob Feller. In 1954, he was 13-3 with a 3.09 ERA, 140 innings pitched. Number 2 hitting pitcher, so he gets that card inserted for him. Now for the home team, the 1961 Cincinnati Reds. Leading things off at second base, Don Blasingame. Batting second, Eddie Casco at short. Batting third, center fielder Vada Pinson. Batting fourth, Frank Robinson. He's playing first base because of the injury to Gordy Coleman. Batting fifth, left fielder Wally Post. Batting sixth, third baseman Gene Freese. Batting seventh, Gus Bell. He is in right field, playing for Coleman, who returns next game. Batting eighth, catcher John Edwards. And on the mound, batting ninth, is Bob Purkey. 1961, he was 16-12 with a 3.73 ERA, 246 innings pitched. He is a number 1 hitting pitcher, so he gets that card inserted into the lineup for him. And we are ready to get this thing started. So leading things off for Cleveland, left fielder Al Smith. Pitch from Purkey. It's a ground ball back to Purkey. It's an X check. He is a 2. We roll a 14. And he stabs that one out of the grass, tosses over to Frank Robinson for the first out. So 1 down here in the top of the first. And Bobby Avila. And he hits this on a line, but right at third baseman Gene Freese. Freese robs Avila of a hit. And there are 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on. And center fielder Larry Doby. Pitch from Purkey. And that's a strikeout. Got him looking. And the Indians go 1-2-3. No runs, no hits, no one left. After 1/2 inning, it's the Indians 0. And the Reds coming to bat. And Purkey will get his first fatigue point. Bob Feller takes the mound for the Indians. And leading things off for the Reds will be second baseman Don Blasingame. Pitch from Feller. Almost hits him. That's a leadoff walk. Blasingame trots down to first base. And that brings up Eddie Casco. Blasingame is a D stealer. No threat to run here. Here's the pitch. And Casco gets underneath this one. Vic Wertz has it over there at first base. And there's 1 away. So 1 out, 1 out man on first for Vada Pinson. Pitch from Feller. Another one that's going to stay in the infield. but this time it's shortstop George Strickland. And he's under that. And now there's 2 away. So 2 outs, man on first for Frank Robinson. As mentioned, he's playing first base for the injured Gordy Coleman. Pitch from Feller. And that's a fly ball to right field. And that sends Dave Philly back to the track where he makes the catch for out number 3. So no runs, no hits, 1 man left on. And after 1 inning, we are scoreless. And Bob Feller will pick up a fatigue point. As we go to the top of the 2nd. And leading things off for the Indians will be third baseman Al Rosen. Pitch from Purkey. It's a fly ball to left field. And Wally Post is under that, makes the catch near the track, and there's 1 away here at the top of the 2nd. And Vic Wertz, first baseman, is next. Purkey delivers. It's a fly ball to right field. And Gus Bell's got a beat on that one, and there are 2 outs. So 2 outs, no one on. Dave Philly, Purkey delivers. It's a ground ball to second base. It's going to be an X check for Don Blasingame. He's a 3. We roll a 2. And Blasingame can't quite make a play on that. And it goes into right field for a base hit for Philly. Makes the turn, but he's going to hold it first. So got our first hit of the game. So there's a man on first with 2 outs for shortstop George Strickland. That's a fly ball to right field. And Gus Bell, near the track, makes the catch. And that's it for the Indians. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. After 1.5, we remain scoreless. And Bob Purkey picks up fatigue point number 2. First batter to face Bob Feller here in the bottom of the 2nd is Wally Post. Here's the pitch. And that's a strikeout. He was way behind on that one. And there's 1 away. Brings up third baseman Gene Freeze. Here's the pitch. That's a fly ball to left field. Al Smith, near the track, makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down. And that brings up right fielder Gus Bell. Pitch from Feller. And Bell gets under this one. Vic Wertz over near the first base bag. Makes the catch. And the Reds go 1, 2, 3. No runs, no hits, no 1 left on. And after 2 innings, we are scoreless. Feller gets his next fatigue point. Is that 2? Jim Hegan's going to lead things off for the Indians here in the top of the 3rd. Pitch from Purkey. It's a ground ball to second baseman Don Blasingame. Over to Frank Robinson, and they get Hegan by a step. And there's 1 out. Here's Bob Feller. Purkey delivers. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Purkey. And we go back to the top of the order for the Indians and Al Smith. He's 0 for 1. Pitch from Purkey. It's a ground ball to first base. It's going to be an X check for Frank Robinson. He's a 3 at first. We roll a 2. And Robinson can't make a play on that. And it goes into right field. Another hit for the Indians. Smith makes his turn at first, but he's going to stay put. So man on first, 2 outs, and Bobby Avila. Pitch from Purkey. And that one's into center field for another base hit. Back-to-back hits for the Indians. Smith slides into third, and the Indians have runners on the corners with 2 outs for Larry Doby. Pitch from Purkey. That's a fly ball to deep left field. But Wally Post is there at the track, makes the catch for the final out. So no runs, 2 hits, 2 men left. And after 2.5, we remain scoreless. Another fatigue point for Purkey. And we go to the bottom of the third. Leading things off for the Reds will be catcher John Edwards. Pitch from Feller. That's a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Feller. There's 1 away. And that brings up Bob Purkey. Feller delivers. That's a ground ball. Avila to Wirtz. And there are 2 outs. Back to the top of the order for the Reds, Don Blasingame. Second baseman. He walked his first time up to start the game. Pitch from Feller. That's a ground ball to first base. And Vic Wirtz is going to take that one unassisted for the final out here in the bottom of the third. No runs, no hits, no one left. We've played 3 innings and we are still scoreless. And Feller picks up fatigue point number 3. And cleanup hitter Al Rosen is going to lead things off for the Indians here in the top of the 4th. Pitch from Purkey. It's a ground ball to second. Going to be another X check for Blasingame. He is a 3. We roll a 6. And he makes a backhand stop, plants, and fires over to Frank Robinson, and they get Al Rosen by a half step. Nice play by Blasingame. And there's 1 away here in the top of the 4th. That brings up Vic Wirtz. Wirtz flew out to right his first time up. Pitch from Purkey. That's a ground ball to third base. Gene Freeze over to Frank Robinson. 5-3 put out, and there are 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on for Dave Philly. Philly singled his first time up. He's 1 for 1. Pitch from Purkey. And he hits that one past Blasingame. Philly's now 2 for 2. Goes into right center field. And he's on first with 2 outs. George Strickland's next. Pitch from Purkey. Strickland gets under this, and Frank Robinson calls off Blasingame over at first base for the final out here in the top of the 4th. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. 3.5 innings in the books, and it is still a scoreless game. Purkey gets fatigue point number 4. Eddie Casco is going to lead things off for the Reds here in the bottom of the 4th. He's 0 for 1. Feller delivers. It's a fly ball to right field, where Dave Philly is there waiting for it, and there's 1 away. Next up, Veda Pinson, first baseman. Excuse me, center fielder. He's 0 for 1. Here's the pitch. Fly ball to center field. Larry Doby at the track makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down for the Reds here in the bottom of the 4th. That brings up Frank Robinson, first baseman tonight. And here's the pitch from Feller. And he got him looking. Robinson not happy about that one. Strikeout number 3 for Feller ends the inning. No runs, no hits, no men left. The Reds go 1, 2, 3. We've played 4. And we are still scoreless. And Feller gets fatigue point number 4. Catcher Jim Hegan is going to lead things off here in the top of the 5th for the Indians. No score. Here's the pitch from Purkey. It's a fly ball to right field. And Gus Bell makes the catch for the first out. Now it's Bob Feller. Feller struck out his first time up. Pitch from Purkey. It's a ground ball to second. It's going to be an X check for Blasingame. He's a 3. We roll a 4. And another nice play by Blasingame as he fires over to Frank Robinson for the second out. They get Feller by a step. And we're back to the top of the order for the Indians. Scoreless here in the top of the 5th. Al Smith comes to the plate. 2 outs, no one on. Pitch from Purkey. And Smith gets under this one. Blasingame doesn't really have to move and makes the catch for the final out here in the top of the 5th. No runs, no hits, no one left. After 4.5, the score remains 0-0. And Purkey gets his 5th fatigue point. Wally Post will be the first batter for the Reds here in the bottom of the 5th. Pitch from Feller. And Post gets a hold of this one to deep left field, sends Al Smith back to the track, to the wall. It's way up out of here. Gone. The first hit in the game for the Reds is a big one, and they take a 1-0 lead on that blast from Wally Post. And Feller picks up his 5th fatigue point. Next up, Gene Freese. Pitch from Feller. And Freese gets a hold of this one, sends Smith back to the track, to the wall. He jumps, almost catches it, but it is way up, out of here, gone. Back-to-back home runs from the Reds, who before this had their leadoff man to start the game, Don Blasingame, reach base on a walk. And now they have a 2-0 lead on back-to-back homers. And Feller gets fatigue point number 6. And there's some jackets coming off in the Cleveland bullpen. Looks like Art Houdeman starting to stretch a little bit out there. Back-to-back home runs from Post and Freese, and it's 2-0. Feller can't believe it, and neither can the Indians. All right. Next is right fielder Gus Bell. Pitch. And he gets Bell looking for the strikeout. That's number 4 for Feller. All right, base is empty, 1 out, and John Edwards. Feller delivers. And that's a base hit into left field. Edwards makes the turn, but he'll hold at first base. And there's a man on first with 1 out for pitcher Bob Purkey. Purkey squares to bunt. And it is a perfect bunt down the third base line. Throw from Rosen over to Wirtz, and Purkey is safe at first. And the wheels have fallen off for the Indians. Now it's first and second as Edwards moves up to up to second. And there's only 1 out. Back to the top of the order in Don Blasingame. Reds threatening to blow this one open right here. Here's the pitch from Feller. And it's a ground ball to short. And that's going to be Strickland to Avila, over to Wirtz for the 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. But the Reds get 2 runs on 3 hits, 2 men left, and after 5 innings, it's the Reds 2 and the Indians nothing. And Feller gets fatigue point number 7. So Purkey comes out here for the top of the 6th with a 2-run lead. And the first batter he's going to face is second baseman Bobby Avila, who is 1 for 2. Pitch from Purkey. It's a catcher's card X. And Edwards is a 2. And we roll an 11. And that one gets by Purkey. Makes its way back to the backstop. And the next pitch delivered by Purkey, or it doesn't get by Purkey, it gets by Edwards. And on the next pitch, Avila lifts one in foul territory. Edwards off with the mask, and near the Indians' dugout, he makes the catch for the first out here in the top of the 6th. Reds are leading 2-0, looking to take a 2-1 series lead here in the inaugural Gaedel Cup Finals. That brings up Larry Doby. Doby's 0 for 2. Pitch from Purkey. Way outside, and that is a 1-out walk. I believe that's the first walk. Yes, the first walk for Purkey in this game. So Doby's down at first base with 1 out, and third baseman Al Rosen, who is 0 for 2. Here's the pitch. It's catcher's card X. And as we said, Edwards is a 2. We roll an 18. And we need to select another card, or in our case, roll another die. And again, we got a 13. And that one gets by Edwards as well. That allows Doby to move up to second base. And the next pitch to Rosen is lifted in foul territory over near the Reds' dugout. Purkey calls off Frank Robinson. Or not Purkey, I keep saying that. Edwards calls off Frank Robinson and makes the catch. So we get 2 outs here in this inning on foul outs. So there's 2 outs now with Larry Doby down at second base. And Vic Wirtz. Wirtz is 0 for 2. Pitch from Purkey. And way inside. That's a walk. 2 walks issued this inning by Purkey. And now it's first and second with 2 outs. And Dave Philly. Philly is 2 for 2. He's been the hot bat for the Indians in this one. Here's the pitch from Purkey. And Philly gets a hold of this one to deep center field, sends Veda Pinson back to the track, to the wall. It's way up, out of here, gone. A 3-run, 2-out shot for Dave Philly. And just like that, the Indians now lead 3-2. And Bob Purkey can't believe it. And he picks up 3 fatigue points. That puts him at 8. My. How quickly things can change. All right, so bases empty because Dave Philly, who's now 3 for 3, he cleared them. And there's 2 outs for George Strickland. Pitch from Purkey. It's a ground ball to second baseman Don Blasingame. Another X check. He's a 3. We roll a 20, and I bet that's going to tell us to roll again. Now we get an 8. And Blasingame has been flashing the leather out there at second base in this one. Makes a nice diving stop from his knees, fires over to Frank Robinson, and they get Strickland by a half step to end the inning. But the Indians pick up 3 runs on 1 hit, and that was Dave Philly's blast to center field. And after 5.5, it is now the Indians 3 and the Reds 2, and Purkey picks up fatigue point number 9. So now it's Bob Feller with the lead, albeit it's only a 1-run lead. And leading things off for the Reds here in the bottom of the 6th will be shortstop Eddie Casco. He's 0 for 2. Pitch from Feller. It's a ground ball to third base, and it's going to be an X check for Al Rosen. He's a 3, and we roll a 7. And another nice defensive play as Rosen fires over to Wirtz, and they get Casco. He handles the bad hop and makes the perfect throw, and there's 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th. And this place has gotten quiet. You can hear a pin drop. So 1 out, nobody on for Veda Pinson. Feller delivers. And Pinson hits this one into left field. Al Smith back up to the wall. He jumps. He misses it. It's off the wall. It rolls away from him. Pinson rounds second, and he is going to slide into third with a 1-out triple. So the tying run is 90 feet away with 1 out, and Frank Robinson comes to the plate. Robinson is 0 for 2. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to second base, but it's going to be an X check for Bobby Avila. He's a 3. And we roll a 3. And Avila cannot make a play on that. It rolls into right field. Robinson with the 1-out RBI single as Veda Pinson scores, and we are tied at 3. And Feller gets fatigue point number 8. And now there's some activity, or there has been some activity. Art Houtman is warming up for the Indians. He'll be ready when needed, if needed. So now there's a man on first with 1 out as Robinson comes through with the RBI single to tie this up at 3. Here's Wally Post, who hit a blast his last time up. Pitch from Feller. It's a ground ball to third base. And Al Rosen to George Strickland to Vic Wirtz for the inning-ending rally-killing 5-6-3 double play. And that's it for the Indians. So 1 run on 2 hits. 1 man left. And with 6 innings in the books, we are tied at 3. And Feller picks up fatigue point number 9. So Purkey's still out here. He's at 9 as well. And leading things off is going to be Jim Hegan. Tied at 3 here, top of the 7th. Pitch from Purkey. It's a fly ball to left field. Wally Post is under that, and he makes the catch near the track, and there's 1 away. And we see Feller being called back from the batter's circle. So Art Houtman will be pitching for the Indians in the bottom of the 7th. And pinch hitting for Feller will be Sam Dente. There's 1 out, nobody on. And Purkey delivers. And Dente hits a line drive right to Eddie Casco for the 2nd out. So 2 outs, nobody on. And we're back to the top of the order. Now Smith. Game tied at 3 here in the top of the 7th. Purkey delivers. And that's a line drive, but right at third baseman Gene Freese. And that's it for the Indians here in the top of the 7th. No runs, no hits, no one left. And as we get ready to stretch them, we are tied at 3. And Purkey is going to pick up fatigue point number 10. All right, so as mentioned, new pitcher for the Cleveland Indians is now Art Houdeman. In 1954, he was 15-7 with a 3.35 ERA, 188 innings pitched. He's listed as a starter reliever, so he will be good for 7 fatigue points. And the first pitcher, excuse me, boy, the stutter's coming out tonight. Okay, the first batter he will face is third baseman Gene Freese here in the bottom of the 7th. Game tied at 3. Pitch. It's a fly ball to center field. Larry Doby's there, makes the catch, and there's one out. Brings up right fielder Gus Bell. Bell is 0 for 2. Pitch from Houdeman. Line drive, but right at first baseman Vic Wertz. And that's 2 away. Now catcher John Edwards. Pitch from Houdeman. And that's a 2-out single into left field for Edwards. His second hit of the game. And he rounds first, but he's going to hold there. And just as his counterpart was removed, that's going to be it for Bob Purkey. He's going to be lifted for a pinch hitter, and it's going to be Jerry Lynch. So Jerry Lynch is going to pinch hit for Purkey. With a runner on first and 2 outs. The Reds try to break this tie. Excuse me. Houdeman delivers. And that's a strikeout to end the inning. So, no runs on 1 hit. 1 man left on after 7 innings. We are tied at 3. And Houdeman will get his first fatigue point. And I did not get anyone warming up for the Reds. So for the first 2 batters, just to be fair, Ken Hunt's going to be the new pitcher, but for the first 2 batters, any X-checks are all going to come from column 4. And leading things off for the Indians here in the top of the 8th with the score tied 3-3 is Bobby Avila. Pitch from Hunt. It's a fly ball to center field. And Veda Pinson has got that. And there's 1 away. Next up, Larry Doby. It's the pitch. Doby hits one into the left center gap that's off the wall. It's rolling away from both outfielders. Doby rounds second, heads into third with a 1-out triple, second triple in this game. So he's there with 1 out, and Al Rosen comes to the plate, and the Reds are bringing the infield in. Hunt is now warmed up, and here's the pitch. And that's a strikeout for out number 2. First one for Ken Hunt. Infield back to normal depth. And Vic Wertz. Just a pitch. Low and outside, and that is a 2-out walk. So now it's runners on the corners with 2 outs. And Dave Philly, and guess what he did last time he was up? He had a 3-run home run. Here's the pitch from Hunt. And guess what Philly does again? He hits a fly ball to deep center field that sends Veda Pinson back to the track, to the wall. It's way up, out of here, gone. Another 3-run home run in this game for Dave Philly. He's now 4 for 4 with 2 singles and 2 3-run home runs. And the Indians, here in the top of the 8th, take a 6-3 lead. My goodness. And Kent Hunt picks up 3 fatigue points just like that. Those base on balls. All right, so now it's the Indians leading 6-3 with 2 outs and the bases empty because Dave Philly cleared them again. Pitch from Hunt. And it's a ground ball to second baseman Don Blasingame over to Frank Robinson for the final out, but not before Philly does some more damage. 3 runs on 2 hits. No one left. So after 7.5, it is now the Indians 6 and the Reds 3. And Kent Hunt will pick up fatigue point number 4. So Art Houdeman has a 3-run lead. He's staying out here. And the first batter for the Reds here in the top of the 8th is the top of the order, and Don Blasingame. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Here's the pitch from Houdeman. And that one's hitting to the gap in left field, left center field. Blasingame rounds first and slides into second with a leadoff double, so the Reds are not giving up yet. So man on second, nobody out. And Eddie Casco, 0 for 3. Pitch from Houdeman. Casco lines this one right at third baseman Al Rosen. Blasingame gets back to second, and there's 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Next up, Veda Pinson. Houdeman delivers. It's a fly ball to right field. There, Dave Philly makes the catch for the 2nd out. So 2 outs, man on second, and Frank Robinson. Robinson is 1 for 3. Pitch from Houdeman. It's a ground ball to third base, and it's going to be an X check for Al Rosen. He's a 3. We roll a 13. And that looks like it's going to be a routine ground ball. Rosen to Wertz for the final out here in the bottom of the 8th. No runs, 1 hit. 1 man left. And after 8 innings, it's the Indians 3. And the Indians 6 and the Reds 3. And Houdeman gets fatigue point number 2. So Ken Hunt, who's at 4, is going to try to keep things where they are. And leading things off for the Indians will be catcher Jim Hegan here in the top of the 9th. And the Indians have a 6-3 lead. Here's the pitch. Hegan gets under this one, and third baseman Gene Freese has got it. There's one away. And Houtman's going to bat. He is a number 4 hitting pitcher. So we'll remove that card. Place that card in for Houtman. And Hunt delivers. And he walked him. My. Man on first, 1 out. Back to the top of the order now, Smith. Pitch from Hunt. It's a ground ball back to Hunt. Hunt turns around and fires to Don Blasingame covering second. They get Houtman, and Al Smith reaches on the fielder's choice. So now there's 2 away. Man on first, and Bobby Avila. Avila's 1 for 4. Just a pitch. Another walk, which sends Smith down to second base. And now there's runners on first and second with 2 outs. And Larry Doby. Pitch. That's a ground ball to first. Frank Robinson gets it. He's going to take that one unassisted to end the inning. So no runs on no hits. 2 men left. As we go to the bottom of the 9th, the Indians lead this one 6-3. Kent Hunt gets another fatigue point. That puts him at 5. Art Houtman's going to finish this one up if he can. He's in line to get the win. And leading things off for the Reds will be left fielder Wally Post. Here's the pitch. And Post gets a hold of this one, and for the second time in this game, to deep center field, sending Larry Doby back to the track, to the wall. It's way up, out of here, gone. And it's now 6-4. The ball is lively in this one. And Houtman gets fatigue point number 3. So the Reds haven't gone away yet. And there's a little bit more activity here in the Cleveland bullpen. And it's going to be Mike Garcia warming up. So it's 6-4, favor of the Indians. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th. Houtman to freeze. It's a fly ball to center field, and it's going to be an X check for Doby. He's a 1. We roll lucky 13. And Doby makes a running catch for the first out. Robs Gene Freeze of extra bases there. There's 1 away. Brings up Gus Bell, right fielder. Pitch from Houtman. Ground ball to third base. And that's Rosenwerts. 5-3 put out, and the Reds are down to their last out. And that's catcher John Edwards. And Mike Garcia kind of watching to see what's going on here. Looks like the Reds are going to have Jim Brosnan take off his jacket and start to loosen up. But it's not looking good. So 2 outs, nobody on. Here's the pitch to Edwards. And he gets under that, lifts it high in the infield where Bobby Avila is under it, makes the catch. And that's it. The Reds do pick up a run on 1 hit. And this one is over. The final score is the Indians 6 and the Reds 4. And get some totals. First, the Indians, 6 runs on 7 hits. No errors. The Reds 4 runs on 8 hits. No errors. Winning pitcher is Art Houdeman in relief for Feller. And the loss goes to Ken Hunt. So now the Indians take a 2-1 series lead. And the next 2 games are in Cincinnati. This one is shaping up to be a good one. All right, so if you hung out with me tonight, I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around, and thanks for your patience with me as my stutter, which I try to keep under control every now and then, rears its ugly head. But that's going to do it for this one, and I'll be back again in the near future with another video. And until then, take care.